Hello everyone, welcome to Grim Chaos Gaming and Reviews. Today is Wednesday, so I'll be reviewing how I had to set up my PS5 to work through my computer. First thing I want to say is I did upgrade the memory in my PS5. I added a 4 terabyte M.2 hard drive, M.2 SSD. I was reading the manual a little bit, and it said you could go up to 4 terabyte. So that's what I went ahead and did. Also, I'll just give you a list of the actual pieces that I needed. Of course, you need the PS5. You need, I use a GOXLR Mini. And I also have a 8 terabyte external SSD. It's a WD book. A WD book. What's really weird about that setup is that thing is like 10 years old, and I went out a couple months ago and bought a Seagate Firecuda 8 terabyte external SSD drive. The Seagate would not be read by my PS5, but the WD book was. And so that's really weird to me, but is what it is. I just know it works. So technically I have 8 terabyte for PS4 games, and I have 4 terabyte for new PS5 games. Another piece of equipment that I had to buy, because as everybody knows, the PS5 does not have an optical output cable jack. So in order to get it to work pretty much at all, but with my GOXLR, I had to buy something called the HDMI audio splitter. And the one that I bought it's a TES Mart switch. I got it on Amazon. And if I remember correctly, I seen a guy on YouTube who recommended it. So I went ahead and bought it. And I think it was like 50 or 60 bucks. But I hooked my HDMI from the back of the PS5 straight into that test mark. And then the optical cable runs from the test mark to the GOXLR Mini. And I had to do a couple other things also. Just from my microphone standpoint, I use a Shure SM7B. And whenever I hooked it into the GOXLR, hooked the GOXLR up to my computer, I was getting a little bit of hissing sound feedback, I guess. So I had to buy a ground loop isolator, plug that into my computer, and then ran a 3.5 millimeter, 3.5 millimeter audio cable. And how I did it, or how I saw to do it, was you hook it into the front on the microphone part, and then you hook it into your computer, and that eliminated the hiss right away. Something I'm not for sure I'm having problems with right now is running my PS5 through the test mark, through the GOXLR into my computer. I was going to play some games with a friend of mine, and he said he could hear me just fine, but I couldn't hear him at all. So what I did was I looked on YouTube again. Someone recommended buying 2 more ground loop isolators, a USB to 3.5 millimeter microphone and headphone jack, and then of course 2 of the 3.5 millimeter audio cables. So what that's going to happen to do, I'm going to run the USB into my computer. It's going to have 2 little 3.5 millimeter outputs that go into the ground loop isolator, and from the ground loop isolator, one goes into the input on the back and the other one goes to the output. So that's what I'm going to have to try to do, just to see if I can get this thing where I can hear other people from the PS5. Because right now, I know most people don't run their PS5 into their computer just because it's a hassle and it's bullshit. What you have to go through, the hoops you have to jump to be able to get it to work. It's taken me 2 months to finally get everything between the PS5, the HDMI sound extractor, the GOXLR Mini, and OBS to finally get it to where everything seems to be working perfectly, except whenever I tried to have a friend join. Like I said, he could hear me, but I couldn't hear him through my headphones. Now that's another thing. I went ahead and bought a 3.5 millimeter to USB port, and I'm going to put it on the headphone jack in the front of the GOXLR Mini. I'm thinking, from my way and my perspective of thinking, it should work. It'll be going into, like I said, the GOXLR Mini. I got a dongle for these Logitech Pro X wireless headphones. So I'm going to see if I can get it to work that way. Because if not, if it doesn't end up working, I don't know. It's going to be really hard to be able to play games with him because I can't hear. You know, we was just going to try a dry run last night of like Fortnite, and he said he could hear me. I think he uses his microphone and speaker off of his controller, and I really don't want to do that because it just doesn't sound. It's real tinny, and I don't like the way it sounds. So we're going to try it and see what happens. Again, I'm not for sure if it'll work or not. If anybody has suggestions on how to get in-game conversations, I get the music and everything from my PS5. I just don't get his audio. So I'm gonna have to try and play around with a couple different things just to see if I can get it, working properly. I don't know. But yeah, this is how I have my PS5 set up to go into the GoXLR Mini, and I can control the volume that's coming out of the PS5. I just can't hear my friend. If I could hear him, it'd be no problem. But like I said, I'm going to try to put, I know there's while I'm staring at it, there's a headphone jack in the front for a 3.5 millimeter. So like I said, I found an adapter to go from 3.5 millimeter to a USB port. So I'm going to try taking the dongle from this Logitech headset and running it through the front and see if I can hear it any better, or see if I can hear him any better. I don't know. It's all kind of trial and error right now. The only thing I do know is I really don't want to mess with the PS5, the Test Smart, or the GoXLR Mini too much, because it works right now for recording and for me playing by myself. But if I want to play with other people, I'm going to have to get somehow I'm gonna have to get somehow to hear, so we can communicate during the gameplay. But that's about it, really. Oh, one thing I was gonna say, I went to GameStop and paid $560 for the PS5, but that also includes a year of warranty through GameStop. I know everybody kind of shits on them, but they were the only one that had it at the moment, so I went ahead and got it. Like I said, that Test Smart HDMI sound extractor I got on Amazon for I think it was $50 or $60. It's got let me look, one input, one output, one optical cable, or I'm sorry, let's start over. One input, one optical cable jack, and then 4 inputs. So you can have up to 4 different devices going through this and just use them one at a time. Which if you're using like an Xbox or Switch or anything else, you could plug all those up. Or even if you have an older game deck that you're running HDMI through, you could run them all through here, through that Test Smart, and extract the audio. And then if you have enough HDMI ports to the back of your computer or audio output, optical audio output in the back of your computer, which mine does, and I'm curious, I won't hear sound, or will I? I might have to play now. I know there's an optical audio output on the back of my computer. They call it an SPDIF, I think. But the GOXLR, I got it on eBay, actually. Came with the box, came with everything. I think I got that for $80. It regularly goes for, I think it goes for 100 or 120, something like that. Everything I buy, well, okay, I was telling you about that Seagate Firecuda. Wasn't able to use it with my PS5 because it wasn't compatible. But what I did do was I hooked it up to my computer. So now running my computer, I've got a 4 terabyte M.2 card inside for memory. And I also have a 8 terabyte hard drive. I think it's an SSD drive. Excuse me, on this Firecuda. So I was able to use it. I didn't buy it, and it was a waste of money. That one runs about 160, 180 at Walmart. And again, got it on eBay for like $90, maybe even 100. I don't really remember. But there's always deals if you're willing to be patient and wait, if you can. Some people need stuff, right now, so they're willing to pay full price. Me, I've been thinking about doing a YouTube channel for 6 months now, but I wanted to get everything perfect and in place and figure out how to use it before I started the channel. Still don't mean there's problems. Every once in a while I'll have a hiccup with OBS. Then I'll have to kind of break everything back down through OBS just to see what's going on. It's like tonight, I have 4 different scenes on OBS. One is this one, I call it Grim Chaos. I have one for YouTube, one for Minecraft, and one for PS5. I was trying to play around a little bit with the PS5 one. This one wasn't working. That's why it's a little later at night. But I was able to get it figured out. And so here's the video. So I'll let you go for now. We'll do something next week. I don't know which one quite yet. But the other thing I was going to tell y'all, while I bought the PS5 at GameStop, while I was there, I went ahead and picked up a second controller. So I got the camouflage PS5 controller, and I also picked up the dual charger. And I'll tell you what, the controller works just fine. The charger, though, not so much. I'm a little disappointed. It was $30. I'm a little disappointed at how it doesn't work. But what are you going to do? So this is Grim Chaos for Grim Chaos Gaming and Reviews, saying peace.